Well, hello internets, here we are with a little bit of a vlog. I've made this here video to address some comments that I've had in previous videos. What did I do to make myself better and to stay out of the hospital? Well, first of all, I'd like to say thank you to my auntie, because without her, I probably would have ended up in the hospital. She would bring me food, of course, using the truck as a drop area, and then I'd go out and pick the food up when I would walk the dog. That saved me having to go out when I shouldn't have been going out. Second, I'd like to say thank you to the dog, because having her needing to be walked every few hours gave me a reason to get up and get moving. Sometimes she would wake me up when I'd been sleeping, and not necessarily to go for a walk because she didn't want to go for a walk. I think she woke me up because I was either breathing weird or having other issues, and once I woke up, then things were a little better. My apartment complex being no charge so far for the water has definitely been a plus. I don't know what I would have done if I would have lived in the house and had to pay for all the water that I used through all the hot steaming that I did, but well, once again, it has helped me so far. I do not recommend anybody doing what I did or what I'm about to say. I do not recommend anybody not going to the hospital or not seeking medical help if you need it, because, well, that can go really, really bad, really, really fast, especially if you've reached a certain point like I was really, really close to reaching. I went on a high fluid regiment. My auntie would bring me soup broth that you heat up in the microwave or on the stove, as well as ginger ale, as well as cases of water and Gatorade, and that's pretty much what I lived on for the first few weeks. And then once my body wanted something a little more thicker, I asked Auntie to see if she could find me some chicken noodle soup. And she brought me some hearty chicken noodle or home style chicken noodle, whatever it was called, and it had big chunks of pasta, big pieces of chicken, and I think there was carrots, and I would do 1 and 1 even though the soup was ready to eat, just the way it was, heated up and be good to go. I did 1 can of water, 1 can of soup, just to make it a little easier on my system. And I kept going with the water and the Gatorade and the ginger ale, as well as Gravol for nausea and cold medication, as well as cough syrup, keeping of course in mind the maximum daily dosage that adults should take, and precautions like that. Eating and drinking very frequently, even if it doesn't stay in for more than 20 minutes, half hour, because if you don't keep fluids in you, then you have more severe problems after just a few very short days. I went through a very high type fever. I do not have a thermometer like a body thermometer, so I wasn't quite sure how much of a fever I was. All I know is I was insanely hot, to the point where I had 3 fans blowing on me, and I had the air conditioning cranked up as high as it could go. And I was still hot then, and once again, I was able to push through, but I do not recommend that, because when you push through, especially a high fever, not only are you expelling valuable fluids that your body is already short on, having a high fever can cause other issues that should be treated medically. Staying calm and dealing with the mental strain. I believe I mentioned this in one of the first vlogs that I did about getting all worked up when I hear sirens, because thinking that the ambulance is coming for me now, looking out my window and seeing ambulances what felt like every few hours coming from my neighbors. Now I'm not 100% sure. There might have been 1 or 2, but I'm not sure if they were frequent as I thought they were. Dealing with mental strain can cause a person to imagine things to happen that quite possibly did not happen, or at least did not unfold the way that you thought they did. Listening to uplifting music or watching positive movies, for me, I found the action-packed, shoot-em-up, fight-em-up type movies were too hard for me to comprehend or handle. So I had to watch almost PG or general type movies that were calmer without all the over-the-topness. And sometimes if a person can't sleep, they need to refocus or redirect their mind, and sometimes for me, watching movies is what does that. And if you can't watch movies and you haven't seen another human being for a very long time, except through your window, and you haven't talked to anybody in a long time, except via text message, then you start to have, a little bit of isolation anxiety, or at least I did anyway. Once again, giving forgiveness to those that have wronged you, forgiving businesses for things that have happened, forgiving the bank for doing what they did, because realistically, you have a guy who has never missed a house payment, never missed a mortgage payment the whole time that he's been in that house. However, the bank is there to make money. The bank is there to minimize risk. And when you have a guy who is not able to work due to the workplace injury and disability, who still is paying his rent for the last whatever it's been, 5 years, without having a job, that's technically a huge risk for the bank. And you can kind of understand why they did what they did, because I was a risk. It would have been nice if they would have worked with me. It would have been nice if they could have not jacked up my interest rate, not essentially nearly triple my mortgage because of everything. But you can kind of understand why they did, because once again, they're not a charity. They're there to make money. Reaching out to family that I hadn't talked to in a while, and sometimes it's just nice to have someone else that knows that you're alive out there. somebody else to answer text messages that you send out, somebody else to be there, to reassure you that you're not the last person alive on the planet, kind of a thing. Making peace with whatever happens to me, or would have happened to me through those rough times. If I am to, if this is it for me, the end of my life, then I guess, it is what it is. There's no point in stressing about it, no point in worrying about it, because our lives are already in motion before we even know what's going on. Leaving behind instructions just in case the unthinkable happens to me, because there have been cases where something could go wrong, and if I'm not able to call an ambulance, then you could essentially lay here until your rent bounces and they come to evict you in 3 months, which then by then, right, you're beyond too far gone, and that's it, right? Kind of is what it is. We tried to do the best and make do with the things we have, and I don't recommend doing what I just said. I don't recommend anybody trying what I tried, because I know it has took a lot out of my body. It has caused me stress and strain that I may not have had if I would have sought medical help. Seeking a doctor is, definitely a plus. That's what they're there for. And, the emergency room, that's what it's there for. It's just me and my own personal choices not to have sought out medical help and to have fought this alone. I know people who have walked into the hospital and then they end up with more trouble when they're there. They end up picking something up while they're there and end up in nearly worse shape, or if not worse shape than they were when they ended up going to the hospital to begin with. But it is what it is. It's my way that I dealt with this, and so far it is working. I am able to record these videos without too much of a headache or hassle. I'm able to watch a little bit of videos, little bit of social media without too much of a headache or hassle, and things are keep on going. I'm trying my best to to survive, and it'll be what it is. But thanks for listening to this here vlog, and we will catch you in the next one.